Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate all of you so very much. Today I am doing episode 95 of my palette roulette series, in which I let an app choose a palette for me to use throughout the week. I come back to you, I talk to you about the palette, I show you some pictures of the looks I created with this palette, and then I show you some swatches and we pick a new palette. This week's palette is the Nomad Cosmetics Berlin Untergrund palette. This is a palette that I received in Ipsy. I think it was just a palette that was in my Ipsy. I do not think it was a palette that I purchased to be an add-on into the Ipsy, which honestly shocked me because I've heard a lot about Nomad and I know that they're rather well-loved indie brand, so I am always excited to get these kind of things in Ipsy, especially when they're products from brands that I don't really have a whole lot of like pull towards typically. I think I chose the wrong lip color. Very cool, and this is very warm. I'm gonna switch my lip color. I'll be right back. I'm not sure that this lip color is much better, if I'm being honest with you, but it's just a gloss. I was super excited to get this in my Ipsy. I know a lot of people out there did get it in their Ipsy. This is what the packaging looks like on this palette. Kind of like a scene from Germany, and it does say Berlin Untergrund over here, Nomad over here, the spine, just as a carryover of that picture on the front, and then the back just says Nomad Cosmetics. It tells you it's an eyeshadow palette. It tells you where it was designed, how it was manufactured, where it was manufactured, and that it is a 15 pan eyeshadow palette. It also says that it has a 12-month shelf life and it is cruelty free. You open it up, it does have a very nice size mirror, and then these are the shades in the palette. And when I introduced this palette, I said that this is like the grunge girl in me's dream, right? When I first got this palette, I was like, yes, please. I definitely want to dig my fingers into each one of those shades. I still kind of feel that way. Like, I had a lot of fun with this palette. There are 15 shades in this palette, as you guys can see. 7 of them are shimmers. 4 of them are satins. There's 1 duochrome, which is this guy over here. And then there are 3 mattes. But I will tell you, there's only one of them that is a true matte, and that is this one here. This one here has no glitter in it, doesn't have any sheeniness to it. But the other 2 mattes are this one here, which actually has quite a bit of sheen to it. That is what is in my crease area today. And then there is this red one. This one also is considered a matte, but it also has quite a bit of sheeniness to it. Honestly, I feel like they perform more like satins than they do mattes. This one definitely is a matte, true to matte standards. These are made with hemp seed oil to nourish the skin, so I could appreciate that, right? They're putting products in this palette that are going to help my eyelids out to some extent. It is cruelty free, it is vegan, and it is gluten free. These are super buttery soft. I feel like they feel like silk, or kind of like felt almost to the touch. None of them are chunky, scratchy, like grippy in the pan or to the touch with your finger. They are all super pigmented. Even the shimmer shades in here are pigmented enough that you don't really have to use some kind of base to carve out a cut crease of any sort. They cover up everything underneath them so that you don't have to worry about that. There isn't really a problem with opacity in these shimmers. They blend so well with each other. They blend so well with others. I did have to utilize some of my single shadows on occasion because, again, there is only 1 true matte in here, and the rest of them really perform quite nicely, but perform like a satin or a shimmer. If there are pictures that I'm putting in here that you look and you're like, those shadows aren't in that palette, you're right, they're not. I did have to utilize some of my single shadows. I think in one look I'm utilizing an orange single from Sydney Grace, and then I have this red, and then I have, I think it's this, it might be this yellow on the lid. And I believe I used another single shadow from Sydney Grace in another eye look. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I also did a video showcasing this palette that will be up later this month. So you guys will get to see me actually using the palette later this month in that video. It was the first time I used the palette. They are not chalky, they're not powdery in the pan. They do, however, have a pretty significant amount of fallout in some of the shades. I think the shades that I noticed it the most were this purple. This is considered matte burnt orange. I would consider it more a red. It looks like a red. I had it on top of an orange and it definitely showed up as a red.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. I'm a hot mess today. I keep forgetting where I was going with this. Oh.
Fallout. These two shades specifically have a grip ton of fallout. This green one, I didn't notice any fallout. The black, I actually also don't notice any fallout. It's just mainly these two shades, really. I think that they all are quite spectacular, honestly. I really do love this palette. Here's a couple things that I have to say about it. I don't think, honestly, it's a wow factor kind of palette. I don't think it's a palette that I'm gonna look at any other shade in my collection and go, oh, but I have that Nomad Cosmetics one and I like that shade better. I'm probably not going to do that. But with that being said, this does have quite a few shades in it that are pretty significantly unique to my collection. So I am keeping it around. I do like it a lot. This does work best with the primer. I did use my MAC Paint Pot or the Urban Decay All-Nighter, no, the Urban Decay Primer Potion, or the Lorac Behind the Scenes eyeshadow primers that I do have. I did not try it with like a concealer instead of a primer. I find that concealers really do not work for me as an eyeshadow primer, and therefore I do not use them. But I did do them without using a primer one case, and I would say that, I mean, its longevity was pretty compensatory to what its longevity is with an eyeshadow primer on, honestly. I didn't wear it any longer than 8 hours in any given day that I was wearing them, but I do think that they have like a great way of performing on the eye and staying the same without, there wasn't a whole lot of fading is where I'm going with this. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking today. So a little bit about the brand. This brand, Nomad Cosmetics, was built around two people, Felicia and I think his name is Auntie, that love to travel around the world. And they also love cosmetics. So they wanted to bring the two things together. Therefore, they created Nomad Cosmetics. They create palettes based on the beauty and the character of the places that they visited. They contrive the palette or like design it on location where they're at to really get the full spectrum of, you know, range of what they're looking for a palette that's really going to represent the area that they're trying to represent with this palette, which I thought was great. The palettes are designed to be the destination location and, quote, discover a story and feel transported, which I think is just fantastic. I really think that I've never been to Germany, I've never been to Berlin. I have heard a lot about it. I took German for 4 years. I think I told you guys that in the video that we pulled this. And I remember studying Germany, and I remember thinking about what it would be to live there, and I think that these colors perfectly represent that. I mean, when I think of it in my mind. And the funny thing is I went onto their website and I looked at the other palettes that they have out there to offer. Like they have, I think, Orient Express or something along those lines, and it really signifies to me the colors that I think of when I think of that. They also have a Harajuku one, and it signifies to me the colors that I think of when I think of that. I think that they do an impeccable job of bringing the area that they are trying to represent in a palette into this palette. What I would also say is that they are heavily in their comment section. And the reason why I say that is because there was one comment in particular about this shade on their website, and it is the shade Love Parade. And the customer was, you know, a bit off put by the fact that Love Parade was a shade in their palette, number one, but a shade that had a skull imprint, number two, when it was a horribly tragic event that happened in this one year, right? And the owner, Auntie, I might be murdering his name, I'm not sure, got on to that program, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. So the customer wrote, I was looking at this because I thought it was fun to see a palette inspired by my country's capital. I'm shocked to see that you named a shade Love Parade and put a small imprint on it, a skull imprint on it, sorry. Please do your research. In 2010, 21 people died during the Love Parade and 652 were gravely injured. So that was her, I mean, just really speaking to the tragedy of that event in 2010. So then the response, which tells me really that they really do care about the mindset of their consumer base, says, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. The skull imprint in our Berlin Untergrund palette is a symbol of the alternative underground culture of Berlin that was exemplified by the counterculture punk scene of the 70s and the 80s, and then the techno scene of the 90s and 2000s. Love Parade, which was organized in Berlin from 1989 to 2003, and in 2006 was a defining part of that movement. I myself participated in it and in Berlin in the summer of 2000. The events of Love Parade in 2010 that was organized in the city of Duisburg and caused the deaths of 21 people were horrific and terrible. They should never be forgotten and always remembered, but I would argue that that alone should not define Love Parade. That for 16 years celebrated peace, love, unity, and respect in Berlin. I'm happy to discuss this more if you'd like. My personal email is, what? Like, I have never seen that from a brand owner. I was knocked out of my seat. Like, I think that that is amazing. And the fact that they really did do their research and they really did not put anything in here that would offend anybody, but Love Parade 1 year was an awful tragic event for their culture, but it wasn't based on that. That's not what it was about in the initial standings of it when it was being built in, 1989? I thought that that was amazing. And the fact that they gave their personal email address to this customer to like have a in-depth discussion with them about these things was just phenomenal to me. Mad respect, mad props. So with that being said, let's dig into the shades. You guys, I studied German for 4 years. I can't say any of these words. I would love to be able to say a lot of these words, but like some of them I can, but others I know I'm just going to murder. So we're gonna try. We're gonna do the best we can. Forgive me if I murder this. Okay, so the first shade is this one, which is Krootzberg. It is a duochrome yellow. Then we have this one here, which is SO36. This is a satin smoky olive. I love this color. Then we have this one here, which is the Wall. It is a shimmer cement gray. Then we have this one here, which is called Techno, and it is a shimmer bronzed steel. Then we have this one here, which is East Side Gallery, and it is a satin cool silver. It really looks very blue to me. And then we have, and it is in my eye look today, and we do have that one as well, which is Techno, and that is a shimmer bronzed steel. All right, so the next one we have is this one. This is NDW. This is a soft matte punk green. It is in my eye look today. I was really hoping that this one would be better than it is, honestly. And we have this one, which is Hilden. It is a shimmer mustard. Look at those two together. Those are amazing together. Then we have this one here, which is Poor But Sexy. It is a shimmer gold. And then we have this one here, which is Tashel's, I don't know. It's a matte burnt orange. It really looks like a red. And it doesn't swatch fantastic, but I do enjoy that color. And then the last one in that row is that Love Parade Shadow, which is a satin purple haze. So the green and the purple are in my eye look today. The green is, of course, in my crease. The purple is on the outer part of my eye. Even though it's a satin, I did use it quite often to deepen up some looks. Although that black is really good at deepening up too. It's more of a soft black than a black, in my opinion. So I used it to deepen up some of the lighter colors, but when it came to the darker colors, I used that purple because that purple is dark. Last row here we have, this is Deutsch Punk. It is a metallic snakeskin. Then we have Chaos Stage, which is a satin brass gold. I think those two, even in an eye look, are super similar. And then we have the only true matte in the palette and the one that I can't really, Ornine Strasse. And then we have Hansa. This is actually a really beautiful shade. It is a shimmer bronzed copper. And then we have Club Nacht. I know it's Nacht, but I think that's Club Nacht. Oh my god, I am murdering this. I'm so sorry. And that is the Shimmer Distressed Black. I think that this black is not a shimmer, if I'm being honest. And this bottom row, all the colors, if it weren't for that matte brown and that black shade, are just so similar. You can't put all of them in the same eye look because you can't tell the difference between any of them. Although I do believe that they are beautiful shades, I do think that there are way too many of those like copper, tarnished gold kind of shades in this palette. I think that they could use some, maybe even put some mattes in there instead of those. Like, I would love for this olive to actually have been a matte and maybe made one of these guys down here the shimmer version of that matte. But I love all three of these. I like them all, don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy this palette and I love the story behind it, but again, it's not a palette in my collection that I'm gonna go, oh wait, I have that Nomad Cosmetics palette. It'll have to be one that I remember and plan and prioritize to use. With that being said, like, I think it's a great palette. I stand behind it. It is a $37 palette, which is not bad for 15 shades. I could only find it on the Nomad Cosmetics website. It does have a 5-star review on that website. So I do think, and there's like 83 reviews of it. I think it's a palette that's well worth $37, if I'm honest. 15 beautiful shades for $37. My beef with it is that there are far too many, there's not enough mattes in this palette for me. I do like at least a compensatory amount. It doesn't have to be a half and half ratio, but I do like to be there to be a good ratio of mattes to metallics, and I don't feel like I got that with this palette. Even the one true matte was really buttery and could have leaned not matte. I am going to grab my phone. We're going to pull another palette. For those of you unaware, I do these palette roulette videos utilizing an app on my phone called the Decide Now app. It is something that I pulled from the Play Store. This is what I utilize to decide which palette I'm using for the following week. As you guys know, some like housekeeping before we do this. As you guys know, I am gone currently. As you're watching this, I am on vacation. I am on my vacation for my birthday. We are in Seattle and then the Oregon coastline, and we're having a lot of fun, and I hope that you are having an amazing time as well. But because of that, I will not have a palette roulette video for you on Monday. But I do have another video planned to go up on Monday for you, and hopefully I've got them scheduled out every single day of the time that we're gone. I do have another video scheduled to go up for you on Monday. It's just not a palette roulette video, and I will have a palette roulette video for you on Wednesday. This is the wheel that we utilize to pick our palettes. As we get new palettes in, I do put them into this wheel, and as we utilize them for a palette roulette series or I declutter them, I do take them out. I'm not sure where my camera died. but I hadn't spun the wheel yet. So to spin the wheel, we just press the button here. And we got the Violet Voss Like a Boss palette. So I'm gonna go pull that palette. I'll be right back. All right, this is the Violet Voss Like a Boss palette, and I am so excited to have pulled this palette, especially due to the fact that this is the one that I'll be taking on vacation with me. I might pull a couple other ones to take, but I really think that this does have all of the shades I might need. This is another very fall palette. It is another very grungy colored palette. All of these right here in the center are so amazing. This one right here is probably my favorite shade in the palette. Just look at that. That is, just look at that. It's so pretty, and I actually cannot wait to use this palette again. It's been so long since I've used this palette, and that swatched like a dream. I'm so excited about it. So I hope that you guys are excited as well. Let me know your thoughts on the palette that I just used. I know many of us got it in our Ipsy, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on this Violet Voss Like a Boss palette. Do you have it? Did you have it? Did you like it? Do you want it? Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you are staying well out there. I hope that you liked this video enough that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. I hope that you also liked it, or me, enough that you're considering subscribing to my channel before you go. If you do that, please don't forget to hit the notification bells. It will notify you every single time I upload a video. I do upload content to YouTube 3 to 4 times a week, depending on the week, and I wouldn't want you to miss anything. I hope that you guys stay well out there. I also hope that you guys are wearing your masks, because truth is, we're not going to get out of this until everybody starts wearing a mask and we can like flatten that curve or something. I also hope that you guys are loving each other, but loving each other from afar. Until next time, guys, have an awesome day, and I love you so much. Bye.